The Curious Leagues of Detectives and Thieves, Egypt's Fire is the next book you need to read, but I'm not going to tell you why. The author himself, Tom Phillips, is going to tell you why. Hey, Tom.
Hey, that was a really good intro.
Oh, thank you.
No worries.
So welcome to my channel.
It's very, very nice here.
We're book nerds over here, but tell everyone who you are.
My name is Tom Phillips. I grew up in a little mountain town in Colorado. Now I've traveled all over. I've lived in New York and now Los Angeles. Met my wife here at karaoke.
Oh, that's fun. I'm terrible at karaoke, but it's
me
the
too,
best
but
to do drunk because you think you're like gonna win the voice.
Yeah, actually, she got off the stage and I said, hey, if you would lower your standards, I'd make a great husband. And she said, I don't have any standards. And now we've been married almost 7 years. Yeah. I'm a dog lover and a D&D player and a comic book nerd. And
that's actually how we met, is through D&D.
Yeah.
But the biggest news is that you're publishing a book.
I am.
Well, it's already published. Yeah, it's just coming out.
Yeah, I'm not publishing a book. A publisher is publishing my book.
Yes.
Yeah, I would not be able to do all of that. It's kind of cool. There's two different worlds. I'm going to jump in here really fast. There's the self-publishing world and there's the traditional publishing world. And I went traditional publishing because I am a creative person, but not a businessman. Mm-hmm. And I'm really glad I did because I don't know how people self-publish and it's
a lot, and especially trying to get yourself out there.
That's crazy to me. I need somebody else to do that work for me and tell me what to do.
I feel that. So yeah, this is your book.
Yep.
The Curious Leagues of Detectives and Thieves, Egypt's Fire.
Yes. It's book 1. Book 2 is coming out in 2023.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yep. It's a middle grade, which means that it's for age range 8 to 13.
But you still feel like it works for YA fans?
I think it does because, let's just face it, all of us are still 13 at heart.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, do you read young adult? Do you read middle grade? Do you read adult books? And I'm like, I read, but I know adults that only read young adult novels. And I know young adult kids that teens that only read adult novels.
It just depends on what world you want to live in.
Yeah. LeVar Burton said that most people, parents' job is to get a kid to be a self-selecting reader. Mm-hmm. And that's just how you do it. And then you have readers for life. So I don't really ever shame somebody for their book views. There's a couple books that I couldn't get through that were very, very popular and people really love them. That's just because I don't really like vampires.
Are you talking about Twilight?
No, I would never. Yes.
I only read the first book and I actually just I'm reading another trilogy that has vampires in it, which I'm like, this is the book that we should have gotten, because Twilight, I feel in my opinion, it was very lackluster, but I know a lot of people enjoy it.
Everybody loved Twilight, and if you love it, that's
I totally get the appeal.
Yeah.
Because I was super sucked in. I wanted Edward. I wanted to be Bella, but I just feel like it needed so much more.
I'm not going to say whether I think it needs more or not. It is what it
For
is,
me.
And it was very popular. So obviously, whatever they did, they did right. But I did see this thing the other day where somebody was like, "Tell us about a book series in a terrible way, but everybody will know exactly what the book is." And it was teenage girl in Seattle has a love triangle between a man who's too old for her and a dog.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I was like, that's funny.
Yeah. Well, because it's one of those things where you respect the creator and the idea, and they put the work in. It's just you happen to like orange soda versus grape soda, which is what their book is.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing, and we get into this a lot, especially in the nerd world. They're like, oh, you either like Star Wars or Star Trek, and then that was forever, and then the new generations is like, can we just like everything?
Exactly.
So. I don't care as long as people are happy.
So what is your book about?
It's about this boy who lives in the Museum of Natural History in New York, the American Museum of Natural History in New York. And he is an orphan. He ran away from home and now he's living in the museum, and he gets framed for stealing a $1 billion ruby, the Egypt's Fire. And he has to team up with this, I'm going to say, for lack of a better word, insane detective. To clear his name and catch the real thief, a master criminal known as the Mauve Moth.
I mean, I like your detective, though. He is pretty insane for the things that he chooses to do, but that's what makes it fun.
I'm really influenced by Peter Bogdanovich, who is a director who directed What's Up, Doc, and a whole bunch of comedy movies in the 70s. And he's sort of a epic director. His theory was you have one person that's completely sane. Everybody else is insane. But by the end of the movie, all the insane people feel like they're sane, and the sane person feels like they're insane because of all the things that happen. And that's the trick that you try to pull.
That is John in your book.
So John is completely normal kid.
Yeah.
And everybody around him is a completely insane. And by the end of the book, you're just like, you accept that the world is crazy and he's the odd man out.
Well, and especially because like as John is trying to prove his innocence, there's all these things from his past that start to unravel that literally make him feel crazy.
He learns the 37 rules of becoming a great detective. Although I think there's only like 6 rules in the first book.
So they accumulate over time.
Yeah, I'm going to spread it out.
That's smart.
Hopefully my trick to getting a whole bunch of more books, the publisher's like, we need more. What are the other 37 rules? And I'm like, you'll find out.
You'll have to wait. Yeah.
So it's a fun adventure for kids. The 37 rules of detectives, being a good detective is actually 37 rules of being a good human. I have a huge advocate for dismantling toxic masculinity. So it's really about like how a boy survives in this world that seems very crazy and very different than what I grew up in.
And I feel like you definitely get that in your vibe too. Like John's not only learning like necessarily how to just treat women, but how to treat like everyone in general, and also kind of the gray side of the world versus it just being black and white.
Yeah, because the world isn't black and white, and toxic masculinity isn't just men against women. It's I'm going to use the word plague. It's a plague that we have with our young men where they're trying to find a purpose and there's no one to teach them that purpose. And in the old days, back in the day when misogyny was great, you know, they had a purpose. You go to work, you bring home the bread, your wife's there, she's made you dinner, you know, you're a man, you fix the car and you chop the wood and you know, that is what it was to be a man. And they all had this purpose. And as we have gone on, luckily in our society, we've progressed. And now all of a sudden, young men are faced with this question of like, everybody is equal, but who am I? Because
there were like quote unquote designated like positions.
Yeah. And the aspects that I was raised to be a man now no longer are solely to be a man. So I'm like, so what aspects am I supposed to live by? And that's a huge deal. And if you don't teach kids, so if you don't teach men to be compassionate and to treat the world, you know, tackle the world with their heart instead of their muscles, they end up being
bullies and not nice people.
Yeah.
So that's obviously like the heavier side initiated in your book, but that's because it's written for like middle age. I guess then why should people read it? Like, yes, they get this like good message out of it, but what's the fun side of it?
Oh, it's just hilarious. Yeah, no, it's a good. It's written for reluctant readers because it's hard to get kids to read, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's too much competition now.
Yeah, especially like with iPads and phones and the internet.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even when I was a kid, it was still hard to get me to read, but I feel like, now it's harder.
Yeah, and so it's designed, it's funny. You know, a kid could read it and get absolutely no lesson from it and just enjoy it.
Tom is like the king of puns in real life and in his book. They're just all over the place.
Yeah, I like wordplay. I like, you know, Groucho Marx, Abbott and Costello, and even, you know, George Burns and Gracie Allen, and then up into our generation now, even like, you know, Friends and Office and things like that, where the wordplay is really fast paced and catches you off guard. I really like it. So it's a lot like that.
And so then, like, I feel like we kind of already covered this, but like this would definitely be for anyone. It's not just for like young kids.
Yeah, it's really for a family. It's made to be read to little kids who can't read. It's you know, the middle grade kids to be able to read on their own. High school kids would enjoy the story. It's fun. It's an easy read. Parents could listen to the audiobook when they're driving to grandma and grandpa's house and not want to kill themselves because they've heard it 14 times. Like, it really is made.
And then for adults who just like love reading.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like it's like a really good mystery. There's so many red herrings where like when I was reading it for you, like to give you notes and stuff, I was like, oh, wait, it's this person. No, it's this one. No, it's this one. So
yeah, I keep you guessing.
Yeah.
I keep you guessing. Yeah. I just did this podcast with this kid, E-Train's World. He's an 11-year-old who has a podcast dedicated to reviewing mid-grade books.
Oh, that's adorable.
Books. He's the only person that I know sort of called. I asked him a whole bunch of questions and he called all of them without even blinking. And I was like, you're way too smart and I'm out.
So you said that there will be a second one.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to tell us like maybe when that's coming out or what that one's kind of like about, like how it's connected to this?
It's supposed to come out June of 2023. It may be May of 2023. That depends. It's somewhere in the summer list. And it is the sequel to this book, and it takes place on a cruise ship in the sky.
A cruise ship in the sky?
Yeah.
I want to go on a cruise ship in the sky.
Yeah, it's one of the things I did with the Curious League is the first book is a museum jewel thief caper. The second book is the old school murder on a boat, and each book has a different genre of classic mystery.
That's cool. And so we follow Todius through these series.
Yeah, and John.
Yeah. Oh, John's in the second one?
John is the lead character. John Borhug is the lead character, and then Todius is the so John Randall Borhug is the kid. Inspector Todius McGee, of course, is the detective, and they team up. Each book is kind of the adventures together.
Okay, that's cool. I didn't know John was going to be in the second one. I thought it was more leaning towards like Todius.
Actually, what's cool about the second book, we really actually get into themes about like social media and kids growing up with social media and how you make friends and the pressures a kid has on
such a weird world. Like the younger generation, like I feel like our generation is the only one that really understands life without internet and with internet, and then how much it's progressed.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like it is insane how much technology has progressed over my lifetime, because I still remember the NES, Nintendo, and us thinking, oh my gosh, Mario in color is like the coolest thing ever to exist on Earth, and when it went from 8-bit to 16-bit or whatever, and you're like, whoa.
Well, I mean, I didn't have any of those. We went from Sega to, I think the next upgrade my brother got was like a Dreamcast.
Oh yeah.
And that was a huge jump.
So I mean, the second book really deals with that. It's a mystery in the sky. I like oddities, so I like circus people. I like magicians. I like, things like that.
Just quirky, odd, fun stuff.
Yeah. So all of my books, like the book has a whole circus background, and there's magicians and.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of circus, in the book jacket, there is a photo of Tom with a monkey, holding the infinite Egyptian fire.
Yeah.
What's the monkey's name again?
In the book, or in the book, the monkey's name is Shim Sham.
Shim Sham.
The monkey in the cover's actually his name was Chiquita. Chiquita Banana.
That's so cute. But Shim Sham in the book is such a character.
Yeah, Shim Sham's in the second book too.
Shim Sham comes back.
Oh, Shim Sham's going to be in all books.
That's exciting. What inspired you to write, I guess we'll say for this book specifically, this story, like start the whole thing?
Oh, wow. Two things. One, the series of unfortunate events. It's one of my favorite books. So I wanted to write something like that. I've always loved mystery. And I used to live in New York, and I used to go to the Museum of Natural History all the time.
Did you also want to live in the ceiling?
Yeah. Well, and what was funny about it was that so in the book, the kid, John, lives in a crawl space above the bathroom on the fourth floor. And the fourth floor of the museum has a cathedral ceiling. But when you go into the bathroom, it has tiled ceilings. And I was like, hey, wait a second. So I was just giggling about that. And there were some kids that were running around the museum one day. And I was like, this would be such a cool adventure. There was a book written when we were kids, probably before both of us were actually born, called The Mixed Up Files of Miss Basiley Frankweiler. And it's
heard of it.
It's about two kids that run away and they live in a museum.
Oh, okay.
And my publisher, when they got this book, they said, this is a love letter to classic middle grade. It has the feel of a classic, what we grew up with, only with a little modern spin.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's definitely a nice compliment. Well, I was going to ask you, I mean, you just said Series of Unfortunate Events is one of your favorite books. What are your favorite authors then?
Lemony Snicket. Wow, that's so hard. There's so many. Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol is one of my favorite books. Actually, somebody told me, they're like, oh, this book, one of the negative reviews I got on this book was somebody was like, oh, it's a ripoff of Series of Unfortunate Events. And I was like, no, it's not. It's a ripoff of Christmas Carol. Like, if you're gonna
Insult it. Pick the right one.
Yeah, I mean, like Dickens was the first guy that, I wouldn't say he's the first guy. There's some people before that, but Dickens was the first guy that really just had the snarky narrator who knew all, but was sort of part of the story, but wasn't part of the story. And there's been many books since. I also love Dan Brown.
We love a good Dan Brown book. I haven't read any Michael. Is it Crichton?
Crichton? I think it's Crichton. It could be Crichton.
Yeah, but he did Jurassic Park, right?
Yep. Jurassic Park, Timeline. Yeah. Timeline's a great book. Congo, Sphere.
Oh, I didn't realize Congo is based off book, because that movie is so good and so creepy.
Yeah. He also did Westworld.
Okay, so he does like really good adventure books.
Yeah, Michael Crichton really is about taking science, like real science, and then making a adventure out of it. So like all of his books are like Jurassic Park with the cloning of dinosaurs, or Timeline with time travel, like the actual what.
Or Congo about like this like ancient world with like these really intelligent
communicating with animals.
Yeah,
it's all science based.
That's awesome.
So I really like that. And then of course Dan Brown is all religious based.
Conspiracy theories around the government and stuff.
Yeah,
that's what I love about him. And I like that he takes you on a roller coaster. When I read a book, sometimes I want to just like sit in it and have it last forever. Sometimes I just want to go on a ride.
Yeah, well, and like what I like about Dan Brown too is like he'll have chapters that are like a page, and then chapters like 20 pages.
Because he makes it very clear, like I'm separating the themes, and then you go back and forth between the different characters and stuff.
It's a roller coaster. I also like Clive Cussler.
My dad liked him.
Pitt series. Yeah, my dad loved him. So I think I kind of
because Clive is also like the dude where if you go into like a gas station, he's there.
Yeah.
You can find Clive anywhere for like $4.
Yeah, he actually lived in Denver, and he has a car museum. So like you can go see all Clive's cars.
That's cool.
And I went so many times just hoping to meet him. He passed away, and I always wanted to meet him, but I never was the thing. But I've met his sons like 40 times.
That's so cool.
Like, your dad here? They're like, no. I'm like, I'm out.
I only care about Clive.
I don't want to meet him.
What are some other books besides Series of Unfortunate Events? I know you named like off some authors, but
yeah. Man, I like the Circus McGungus books.
Never heard of those.
The Night Circus books. Miss Peregrine's School for the Peculiar Children. The Percy Jackson series.
I heard Percy Jackson's really good.
They're fun. Yeah, I really like it. I think Rick Riordan is. There's a reason why he's so popular. I mean, he's super great. He's a wonderful person, and his art is awesome, and his books are great. And he is who's really big into mythology. So like he really brings the fun of mythology to children that like you wouldn't normally have. So I think Percy Jackson's a really great way to introduce kids to mythology and storytelling.
That's awesome. Aren't they coming out with a series on Disney?
They are.
That's exciting.
It's awesome. It's gonna be awesome. And they're having a little bit of a backlash right now because the girl they cast as Athena's daughter, I can't think of the character's name. Sorry, Rick, don't kill me. They cast her as an African American girl. And it was like, oh, she can't be African American. And we're like, why? Like, you know.
I forget. David was. Who was it? It's one of David's like favorite D&D YouTubers, but he was saying how like when a book gets turned into a show or a movie, he's like, I don't want to see the book from page to screen. He's like, I want to see your adaptation, like what you saw in your head. One
of the cool things. Okay, so my publisher is Pixel and Ink, and they only buy series and they only buy books that can translate to film and television. That's their whole platform. Alison Weiss is my editor, and she's amazing. So if you're listening to this, you need to look her up on Twitter and follow her immediately because, especially if you're writing a book, because she does like a weekly Ask Lit thing on Twitter where you can ask her any question.
Oh, that's
cool. And I'm like, she's an editor in the business. Why are you not asking questions?
Yeah.
It's always like 4
So
or
if
5
any
people
fellow
asking.
writers are watching, we'll have her Twitter in the description for you.
Yeah, she's awesome. We talk about this a lot because they're like, we want to take Curious and we want to turn it into a television series. And I'm like, great. At some point as an author, you have to let go of your art and let somebody else take it, and then it becomes their art. And sooner or later it becomes the fans and it becomes their art. And then like, that's where you get a little crazy because people just need to understand that it's not ruining your childhood. You still have the book. You can still read the book. You can still love the book.
Also, you just don't have the same amount of running time.
Yeah. You in television film, you hardly get the introspect of the characters, where in books you're inside their heads.
Exactly, which I think is the biggest difference. So you're really like watching the actor bring it to life. So speaking of having like visual adaptions, we actually got to do something really cool. If you follow me on Instagram or follow me because of my other channel that I work on, which is Fables D20. That's where we play live actual play of Dungeons and Dragons. We had Tom come on and DM his own world of his books. And it's kind of like a prequel, right?
Yeah, we did like a one shot that's sort of a prequel to the you know, how the Egypt's fire was found. It's a very like mummy Egyptian thing. It was silly.
Yeah, so
you guys did a great job.
That's going to be on the Fables D20 YouTube page very soon, so you can check that out and get a glimpse. And your book comes out June 7th?
June 7th. It'll be in every bookstore. Like you can get it anywhere. Literally anywhere. If you can buy a book there, you'll be able to get a copy. If it's not on the bookshelf, demand it.
There you go.
Because I can't believe that every bookstore in the world isn't going to have it. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you can get it at Target and Walmart and
That's awesome.
Barnes and Noble and Amazon and all your indie bookstores. And say support your indie bookstores.
I think this is really cool because I don't really understand how this works, but like Random House is also distributing your book.
Yeah, so
which is like a big publication.
Yeah, Random House, Penguin Random House does the marketing and distribution of Pixel and Inks books. So it had a wide range of things. And,
this is a legit book, you guys. It's gonna be a big deal.
That's what I keep saying. Everybody's like, they're like, oh, you made a book, and I'm like, yeah, but I like. They're like, where can I get it? Do you have a copy to sell me? And I was like, well, you can order it. And they're like, oh, you can order it on Amazon. I was like, yeah, or Barnes and Noble, or Target, or Walmart. And they're like, oh wow, this is a real book.
Yeah, it's everywhere. What's maybe just like one thing or one last nugget you'd like to leave everyone watching today about the book?
I would say if you have a kid who doesn't like to read, or a kid who loves to read, or a kid you wish would read, or you'd like to read, it's a good starter book to get kids into reading.
Awesome. I like that. A good starter book. I think those are important.
Yeah, it's the gateway drug of books.
Mine was a dog named Barkley. He also had a trilogy.
Mine was Banicula, I think. You know Banicula, the vampire rabbit?
Oh, no, I've heard about this from your wife.
Yeah. My wife is obsessed with Banicula. It was so funny, too, because when we met, she was like, what kind of books do you like? Blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I like Banicula. She's like, I love Banicula. And I was like, that's why she married me right there.
I mean, David and I have been together for 10 plus years because of Lord of the Rings. We nerds are all connected in some introspective way. All the links will be in the description below for you to pre-order it. You can pre-order it right now, so it arrives at your door when it comes out, or you can go buy it in person on June 7th.
If they want to pre-order it, I'll give you the Vromans link. You can order it through Vromans right now, and if you do it through their special link, you can get a signed copy. Ooh, and a piece of art.
That's really cool. By you?
Yeah, I drew it. Yeah.
Ooh, you guys should do that then. So I'll have that link down there.
Yeah.
Definitely check that out. And thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I thought this would be more interesting than me blabbing off about like why I think the book's great.
No, I that's fine. You can blab about how the book's great.
Yeah. Well, would you like to tell them, in your amazing, was it 1920s?
Oh,
talkie voice?
I don't know.
No, you're gonna ask them to like subscribe, like, and share.
Yeah, I can do that.
Do
you like videos? Do you like really nice nerds that know a lot about it? Are you a vegan? You should be. Check us out, Allie's Reading Corner. It's not just a corner. You also can read there.
Facts. Nailed it.
Yeah, no, subscribe, like, share. I'm going to share this a lot. So people are going to be like, hey, stop sharing this. You share it too much.
It's going to come out tomorrow.
Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. She's gonna cut this down.
Yep.
That's good because tomorrow's Sunday and I don't do anything on Sundays but play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yep,
so I'll have plenty of time to share it between.
Yeah. Your turn.
Every time our cleric comes up and has to pick a new spell, I'll have plenty of time to share again.
That's your wife. She's gonna.
I know.
She's gonna beat you when she hears this.
Me. No, it's not gonna be in there. You're gonna cut it out.
Oh no, it's staying.
Oh no, I love you, baby.
Autumn, we love you.
I love you so much. Don't divorce me.
Thanks so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Bye.